moments. They have the power to change everything. The moments we try something new. The moments we travel thousands of miles. In seconds. The ones that transform how we spend, how we save, how we build. The moments we connect and create memories that last a lifetime. The moments 300 million people say in unison, we want a better way. But the moments that really matter are the ones that come next.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Happy hump day. Welcome back to another episode of Trading the Markets. Of course, we're joined by Kris Bullock, aka Blastoplast. This is the show where we look at charts, we look at the market, we see what's going on, and we see what types of trades we can take with what the market is giving us. We have a great show for you today, and 2026 is already shaping up to be potentially a big year from crypto. It kind of feels like, I don't want to get too ahead of the curve here, but it kind of feels like one of those moments where things are quietly lining up before we have that next big move, even if it doesn't always look that way from our portfolio being down from those all-time highs. It does seem like we're kind of lining up quietly behind the scenes here. Kris, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the show. How are you doing today, and what you got for us?
Yeah, doing well. Thank you. So yeah, Bitcoin is really the story, I feel like, over the last 24 hours for sure. It's had a notable breakout. It's set a new sort of daily cycle high, and things are looking really good. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what's leading to this, what's contributing to this, and where I think we're headed in the next week to 2 weeks. You know, what I see in terms of potential resistance levels looming out ahead, and yeah, there's a lot going on for sure.
Fantastic. Yeah, Bitcoin it had a pretty nice breakout. Though we haven't pulled it up on air just yet, but I'm looking at this Bitcoin chart. That's a beautiful looking candle right now. Why don't we dive into it and see what you're seeing in terms of this little breakout we have going on?
So yeah, definitely a technical breakout for sure. Like we broke out above this horizontal level here. Let me kind of highlight it real quick. This horizontal level that we've been hovering at for a while. We had a nice breakout above it, and really there's a number of things that have contributed to it. One, just this morning we got pretty interesting inflation data that came out that I think eased fears of sustained hawkish Fed policy and sort of boosted a more risk-on sentiment, and then that triggered some liquidations ultimately. So that sort of contributed to the boost. Also, we've seen, I guess you could say, resurgent ETF inflows, if you want to call it that. Yesterday was was the biggest day of the year in terms of net inflows. We'll see what today has in store for us. But after a kind of an ugly lull where, for the first several days of this month, we had net outflows, we actually posted a pretty solid net gain today. And then we've had treasuries contributing to the mix too. If we kind of zoom in here, this is the treasury level, and it's continued to go up. And now finally ETFs are starting to contribute. So we're starting to see, sort of in terms of institutional buying in total as an aggregate, we're starting to see this round back up and them making a more meaningful contribution to the price appreciation of Bitcoin, which is always good, of course, because they've by and large been the sort of nominal buyer of Bitcoin for quite some time now, and so this is gonna help boost prices a lot, I think. So what else do we have? Also the other big story, of course, is the ongoing talks with the regulatory stuff, that's going on. The Clarity Act that's being drafted. There's been tons of chatter on Twitter. There's been tons of activity at the Capitol. Markups coming out, amendments coming out. It's generally moving in the right direction. I would say it's overall a net positive, but there's a lot of things that I don't really like. There's a lot of things that they've had to concede on, like stablecoin yields and some of the developer activity and things like that. It's not awesome. I'm hoping that some of the amendments can get redone, in the coming days. But overall, like I said, it is a net positive. There are good developments that are going to provide this clarity that we've all been waiting for forever, basically. So that I think is also contributing to the positive sentiment that we're seeing. And when you just add it all up, it makes for higher highs, basically. And so what I wanted to kind of look at here is what do we have ahead of us in terms of resistance? Like, how high can this go? Where are we looking in the next sort of couple of weeks? And the big thing that stands out for me, first of all, is this. This is the bull market support band. And so to kind of recap on what that is, the bull market support band is made up of two moving averages. The red one here is the 20-week simple moving average, and then the green one is the 21-week exponential moving average. And it sort of makes this cloud here. And this has served for a long time as a good just general barometer of, are we in a broader uptrend or downtrend? And as you can see, we are currently in a broader downtrend. And we're coming right up to the bottom side of that band as sort of looming resistance right now. And so obviously the big question is, can it break above this? Can it flip it to support and continue the trend upwards? That's what remains to be seen. Also, we've got the big sort of psychological $100,000 level looming as resistance in the near term. I feel like we're at 96. We eclipsed. How high did we get here? We got as high as 97,801 on this current candle. So yeah, 100,000 is definitely going to be resistance level. That's very common across the board. And then just above that, we've kind of got a horizontal range of a lot of trading activity and a lot of cluster right here that sort of averages it around the 103 level. And so my kind of looking at this, I can sort of say, I'm expecting this to, if it is going to get stopped out, if it is going to kind of run out of steam, I think it's going to run out of steam somewhere between sort of the 100 and the 103 range. I think that's going to be the point at which it gets, it slows down, it gets sluggish and starts to roll back over. So that'll be really the key to see if it can break above that. And then in terms of on the downside, one thing to note too is this is also, we're coming up right near sort of the end of a 60-day cycle in terms of cycles tracking. And we know that's often, the Bitcoin will usually peak around day 50, 55, and it'll roll down into a sort of cycle low. And so this is telling us we could get a sort of downtrend back into this general range right here. I feel like potentially a 15 to 20% correction, which would put us, what would that look like here? Say if it came back down, that would put us all the way down here. I don't know that I see that, but I do feel like I could see us coming back down, as potentially as much as like 12 or 13% down to the bottom of this bit right here. So from a technical standpoint, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think we could go as high as maybe 103, and then we might come back down to, the 80, 87 level potentially. But generally, I think things look good. And I think even if we did come back down to that level, I do think that overall the momentum is to the upside. I do like that we're seeing sort of increased spot buying volume here, like well above average spot volume. That's actually the highest we've had since, honestly, back in mid-November. So that's really good to see too. That tells me that like you want to see spot buying increase, because that tells you people like these are investors that are buying, not sort of short-term traders. So I like what I'm seeing there too. So generally, I'm pretty optimistic. I think liquidity is generally trending in the right direction still, and it's a matter of just sort of waiting for, like I keep saying, the liquidity faucet to fully be turned on, for the money to sort of work its way through the mechanics of that system right now. But generally, things are moving in the right direction. So overall, generally bullish.
So kind of two scenarios I want to discuss with you based on what you just said, right? And with that 100,000 kind of being that psychological mark there. So say we do break the 100,000, we break above 103. What is your, thinking about where we can go from there? And then alternatively, say we get rejected off of 100,000. I know you said mid 80s. Do you think that's likely to follow very soon after, or is that kind of going to just be like a slow trickle down? What are your thoughts?
No, I don't think it will be that slow. I think it could generally happen pretty quick and even bounce pretty quick from there. So um, that's just kind of my general sentiment based on sort of how late in this 60-day cycle we've set this higher high like this. Usually, usually when it's late like this, day 55, day 58, whatever, that sort of gives it less time for the declining phase of that cycle, and so it's usually more short and sort of abrupt, and then it bounces from there. Like had we topped in the middle of the cycle around day 40 or whatever, that would have given us sort of 2+ weeks of potential downside price action, and generally that's when you're going to get that slower bleed. But in this case, the fact that we're as late as we are, I think that that's a good sign. And then from there, the key level that I've been talking about for quite some time now is really this 116 level. I remember talking about this way back in like September and October as sort of the key level where I feel like if we can get above this level based on this candle right here, that's gonna be kind of, it's back on. Like the sort of longer term bear market fears will start to be really sort of squashed at that point, and we'll be back in, I feel like, a larger macro uptrend at that point. But we're a ways from that still, and that's that's sort of down the road a bit. But that's kind of the key level that I'm looking for. I feel like if we can set a higher high above this 116 level here, then I'll feel a whole lot better about what's going on too. That'll also put us well above like another cloud that I look at is like the 200-day moving averages right here. Like those are sort of right around where the bull market support band is too. They almost kind of overlap, but getting back above both the 200 EMA and SMA, which is at 107 right now, 106, getting above that would put us much firmer in sort of more bull market territory, I feel like, as well. So you can see we're moving in the right direction, but we're not there yet. We've got a ways to go, but constructive price action for sure.
All right, well said. So we will keep an eye on what's going on, and a lot of developments going on, right? We have a lot of geopolitical developments. We have, a little beef, if you will, a little rivalry coming between Trump and Powell. I mean, just sort of a continuation of what's been going on, which actually reminds me to tell you guys, if you want to learn more about what's going on with Trump and the Fed and how, what's kind of going on with the dollar and what the future's looking like, Andreas, Stino, and Mikkel did a great episode on Macro Mondays, Open War, Trump Targets the Fed. They broke down what's going on there and kind of what that means for us as investors moving forward. So definitely recommend you check that out, because a lot of it lines up to with what Kris has been saying here. So I want to change gears just a little bit, move off of Bitcoin, because privacy coins have been just absolutely ripping, right? We had Zcash moving crazy amounts, and then we had Monero very recently ripping as well. So I want to highlight a trade idea from our community member Derek here. And the reason why I love this trade idea, not only is he up, what is he up right now? Almost 45%, which is, one reason in and of itself to love this trade. But another reason too is because this is an example of the RV community hive mind in action. So Derek spotted a note from another member, Robert, who broke down a bunch of things, but Monero was included in that breakdown in his note. And Derek saw that vision of clear skies on Monero if it broke above 520. So then he went ahead right in there and put in a trade idea based off of a note that he found. And look, he's up 45% on it. So I just wanted to give that a shout out, and that you can find a lot of alpha from trade ideas and notes as well. It doesn't have to be just a trade idea to get the alpha. There's plenty of alpha in the notes also. So while I have this, Kris, why don't we bring up the Monero chart?
Yeah.
And see how it's looking, because I know we charted it on Monday and it was looking great. Continues to perform pretty well. So what can we see here?
Let's see. You're right. I remember we did talk about it on Monday, and yeah, it's done nothing but run since then. I remember saying too, it was a little bit overheated on Monday. It's arguably that much more overheated now. But it's still, you know, moving in the right direction. We did noteworthy that we did have a DMARC 9 cell setup here, perfected cell setup, and then on this combo indicator, we're at a 12. So we're very overextended in terms of like DMARC. We've got a 9 here, we've got a 12 here, we've got a 9 on the sequential also. So like it's pushing the limit of how high this is going to go before we get some kind of a reset. Also, the fact that it's so far above its 10-day moving average. I mean, it's, you know, what is that, like that 20-30% drop all the way down to just mean revert basically back to its 10-day moving average, which is mega. So I don't know that I would be a buyer here at all, for sure. Like this is definitely due some sort of again, a mean reversion, a breather, if you will. But it's for sure, you know, a great looking chart and a great buy in that case. So yeah, for that trade idea, I mean, like, you know, up, what is it, 45% in 2 days, basically. Yeah. So that's solid. I wanted to look at the Bollinger Bands too, because I have a feeling it's like it's extremely, they're just like, what, you know, right. And it's like way outside the top of the bands, trading steady for the last 4 days. So this is, again, like wildly overextended, but something to keep an eye on going forward. I feel like if it can get a mean reversion, like especially if it can come back down and touch its 10-day moving average, that would be a good place to enter into it. But right now, it's just, you missed it, and you know, don't chase this at this point. If you're in it, great. Maybe be looking to take some profits at this point, or start to take some off the top, or maybe you want to wait till that 13 pops up tomorrow and see if you can eke a little bit more out of it. But I would definitely be looking to take profits here as opposed to looking to buy here. And so until we get a bit of a correction on it. But yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it's always tough to recommend a buy on something that's already up 50%. And just like you mentioned with the bands, just absolutely continuing to run. This is going to test your don't fuck this up resolve, and not chase the chart and the FOMO. So keep that in mind. But I love what you said. If it rolls back down to that 10-day moving average, that could be a really good buy, because I don't know if privacy coins have been around for a while, but that narrative is really heating up in these last couple of months.
For sure. And I think it will continue to. I think it's going to, you know, it doesn't seem like it was as much a flash in the pan as I thought it would be initially with the breakout of Zcash, you know, a month or two ago. But I think overall the whole sector could see a bit of a reset, but I think generally it's going to be one of the stronger performing sectors of 2026 for sure.
And like, I mean, why are privacy coins such a hot narrative? Like, I mean, I know, like, you know, just the whole the narrative of kind of, you know, privacy, right? But like, why are they so popular, especially with just, you know, I guess, why would a normie want to hold Monero, and what benefit would you think that would have for them?
Well, I mean, there's multiple things going. There's I feel like there's the actual functionality of the privacy technology itself, meaning you can transfer these tokens without it being able to be traced back to you, essentially. So there's the functional use, the practical use of why you would want to use this technology. But then second from that, I feel like there's a lot of sort of just speculative hype going on as well that's amplifying what we're seeing here, combined with, we know with Zcash in particular, there's a really high concentration of large whale holders that hold a large portion of the supply, and they can move the price sort of at will to a large degree, and it's kind of no secret that they did, and so that sort of helped people, you know, chase stuff that's running, basically. But then outside of that, yeah, it's just a larger privacy narrative of, I know, like in Europe, in the UK, you know, in the EU, there's a lot of sort of clamping down of on-chain activity and having to report a lot of your activity, and I think that that's driving a good portion of it. And then just, you know, elsewhere in the world too, like less so for us maybe in the US here. It's not something that we think of, at least at the moment, but like there's a lot of other places in the world where your on-chain activity is tracked much more closely, and you have to report a lot more, and there's a lot more hoops you have to jump through. And I think people are just generally getting fed up with that and saying, well, I'm just gonna go the privacy route. Now, ultimately, whether that proves to be smart for them to do, remains to be seen in terms of their legal, exposure there. But nevertheless, that's what's driving that boat, I feel like. And so, yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the US and you're thinking about a privacy coin because you think that's going to help you skirt taxes, let me just remind you that Uncle Sam is undefeated. And I think something like the IRS, like investigative unit, has the highest percentage of solved cases. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about that beyond speculation.
Yeah, no, I personally wouldn't touch that. I've heard too, this is just anecdotal, but I've heard people say that like even just holding some of these privacy coins, raises a flag for the like if you report that you transacted or held, Monero or Zcash, that puts you in a different, like there's a microscope on you at that point. And so
go on some kind of list.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
All right. Well, good to know. But either way, Derek, fantastic trade. He was so spot on that trade. He entered it at 520 Monero price, and he even called it on his trade idea Monero to 750. And look at it right now. It's at what, 775. It's literally going up right now as I'm talking. So really cool to see Derek and Robert. Great teamwork on that trade. Kris, we're coming up at the end of our show. We're not gonna be around next week. We'll be traveling. We're gonna actually be in Miami at the crypto gathering, which reminds me, if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, head on over to realvision.com/crypto gathering. We still have some tickets left for sale. We still have the social pass available as well. So if you want to bring someone, you want to just come to the parties, eat, drink, hang out, be a degen, that is the pass for you. So go over to realvision.com/crypto gathering. Kris, until we see each other, we'll see each other in Miami, but until we see the rest of you back for our live Discord show and trading the markets, what are your thoughts leading into that? What do you want to leave us with?
Well, again, I'm going to be really curious to see just how well this does once it comes up into this resistance zone here with Bitcoin. I'll be looking for the first rejection at around the 98 level when it hits the bottom side of this bull market support band. But I want to see, again, I'm going to be watching the volume. I'm going to be watching the ETF flows, and I want to see this continue and just see if it can push through here, or how far up into here it can get before it ultimately loses steam. So that's kind of the big story right now, is just how strong of a push is this going to be?
All right. Well, that's definitely something we're going to keep an eye on. And we will see you guys all again when we're back from Miami. I think that's January 26th. Yeah. Yep. So we'll see you guys then. Until then, don't fuck this up. We'll see you guys in the chat. Have a great week, everyone.
Moments. They have the power to change everything. The moments we try something new. The moments we travel thousands of miles. In seconds. The ones that transform how we spend, how we save, how we build. The moments we connect and create memories that last a lifetime. The moments 300 million people say in unison, we want a better way. But the moments that really matter are the ones that come next.